Meeting of the Development Corporation of McAllen, Inc. And the first item of business, we have a quorum. First item of business is an ordinance providing for a budget amendment to release hold on capital projects and fund grants, rent/mortgage assistance, and Wi-Fi services.
So
Mr. City
Mayor, I'm
Manager?
gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna ask Angie and Sergio, I don't see Sergio here, to come to the table. Oh, there he is. He's got a mask on. Get a little closer so we can ask you some questions, maybe over in the corner. So last Monday, we had a, special meeting to discuss, our interlocal agreement with the county. And among other things, the city commission requested that we bring back kind of a snapshot of where we are. So I suggested we might as well do the budget amendment at this time of the Development Corporation and the city of McAllen. And so if you'd like, we'll cover the Development Corporation first. We did put a hold on projects, number one, when this whole ordeal began. And then we did several things on the budget to try to get a snapshot of where we think we're gonna be. One of them obviously is that the sales tax gonna impact the Development Corporation like it's going to impact the general fund. And so in your packet, you've got our estimate of revenues and expenses for the Development Corporation. Even if we did nothing, we would probably still be looking at a budget amendment soon, if not today, to reconcile what's going on both on the expense side and on the revenue side. In addition to that, the City Commission and the Development Corp took action last week to fund or to propose certain, I'm gonna call them projects, to the county. And they were Wi-Fi, grants for our community, and what, something we called mortgage assistance. And so you've got some options today as far as the Development Corporation is concerned. We can take one action, which basically does all of the forecasting. One, it takes the whole off projects, if you'd like. And two, we must reconcile what we think is gonna happen in the revenue side. And then in addition to that, we're recommending that the projects that you voted on last week be completed through the Development Corp. It only causes us one problem, is that if you do them all, it shows that we're gonna be in the red. And so the other option is to take some of the money from the general fund if we wanna do all of those projects. The three options that we gave you so that, and we're not suggesting you not do one or the other, we wanted to give you options. So you voted $2 million for grants, $1 million for rent and mortgage assistance, and $2.56 million for Wi-Fi. The total of those three are $5.56 million. If we take that and we do all of the other reconciliation to the Development Corp, you would basically be $1.8 million in the red. And so in this page.
Subject to reimbursement through care
Correct.
funds.
Subject to reimbursement from the county. And so in this page, it gives you a quick synopsis of what those three options look like. Again, I'll say it once more, the release of the projects, and you don't have to do them all. We can also discuss doing some and not doing others. But if you release all of the capital projects that I placed on hold 3 months ago, that would be $4.4 million. It would give you an estimated fund balance of 3.7. Everybody on this page?
Yes.
If you did option 2, which is the Wi-Fi grants and mortgage assistance, that's 5.5. Would give you a fund balance of $2.5 million. If you did them all, then you'd be in the red 1.8, subject to reimbursement from the county.
And so the other members of the Development Corp are aware, the items from option 2 are the ones that we would be submitting for reimbursement, right? The 5.56?
Correct.
Who are you submitting that to for reimbursement?
To the county, that is projects that qualify under the CARES Act.
Roy, so these grants are the same as the ones that have already been administered through the chamber, the addition of $2 million?
Yes.
And who is gonna be administering the rent mortgage assistance for $1 million?
That we're gonna have to come up with. We don't have such a program. We propose using CDBG staff to help us with that, but that would be a new program for us.
Yeah, but without going through all the capital projects on hold, one that I think's probably more important, there's a couple paramount ones. One is street repaving. Our streets are in rough shape, and that's $500,000. I don't know how much we could do with that, but I don't want to go through all those, but I think there's some,
Technically with that project there.
I would maybe prefer to see that we could pare that down as opposed to just wipe it all out.
You want to maybe get it to where the ending fund balance is zero, that would be about half the capital projects.
Yeah.
Because we could select, obviously, prioritize the ones that fit within that budget, and hopefully, once we get reimbursement from the county, maybe
Exactly.
adjust for the remainder.
Exactly. Yeah. I hate to go into a negative budget without getting that reimbursement. It's just not, I don't think it's appropriate. Be unprecedented, for sure.
I agree.
So, yeah, I think that would be, to me, is a little bit of easier solution to do that. And, and it could be even, the street repaving, and how long does that take, Roy? That's $500,000. If that takes 3 months, we could authorize the next 2 months or whatever, because we will have, if we don't have information on reimbursement by then, we're in a lot more trouble than $1 million or two. But if you want to do that, I mean, it's kind of a long time it may take a little while for a meeting, but my main one was that, and I don't know which other projects that would be, I thought we already did the human resource management software for a while, didn't we? That was just generally?
Yeah, no, we had not. We actually, that was money budgeted for the study.
Oh, for the study, okay.
I'm having a hard time finding the list of projects.
It's like, on this packet here, the main packet, it's like 5 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, on the back is 7 pages, it's on the
Got it.
back.
I got it, yes, sir.
Yeah, we printed both sides, so it's on the back side page, if they were numbered
Yeah,
seven.
it's city entryway, daffodil, then it's Mackay relamp tennis court, motocross park, which we're probably gonna do away with anyway, and that's it.
That's what?
Those are the projects.
What, I have on capital projects on hold here. It looks like this.
Mhm.
Is that a different one?
Yes, that's the general fund.
Oh,
Mayor.
okay.
This is,
Oh, that's a
yeah,
development
this
court?
is a development
Okay.
court. And we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Okay. So development court, we can save how much?
The projects that are on hold are, the city. No, it really not. It is land acquisition, which actually that means that we've already, no, I'm sorry, it is the city entryway project, which we can put on hold.
Okay.
Daffodil is the big one, it's 3.4 million. And then you've got Mackay relamp tennis court and motocross park.
Has Daffodil already been engineered?
It's under design now.
So you got some time, when's that supposed to decide? So I mean, we can move some of these things.
Where are you on the packet?
Yeah, I can't
It's
find it.
on,
It's page 2, it goes to page 2 and 3, the bottom
yeah,
of page 2.
1
and the
of
top
3,
page
then
2.
2 of 3, then 3 of 3. It's the last 3 pages.
Okay,
Got it?
so there's not a breakout of those projects, it's just part of the,
No, it is. On page 2, the numbers on the very far right that say projects on hold.
Okay.
oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I see it.
Now, the amendment calls for all 4.4, but I think the motocross was pretty much out, right? So you're really looking at 3.4, or I guess you're looking at 4.4 minus the 715.
Yeah,
You're looking
so
at like 3.8.
you could, I don't know, is that here?
That's only 300,000.
When
because
is
there's a
engineering
revenue
supposed to
to
be
it
done
of
for
400.
Oh, that's right, it was gonna be, okay.
When's engineering supposed to be done for the Daffodil extension? Daffodil Extension
We
Engineering.
just released the engineers to start the design.
So how long you got for design?
We're not gonna do it this
Several
year.
months.
Several months. You're not gonna do that, so, and then the
Automatic on hold.
motocross park.
It's 750.
There you go, that's $4 million.
Yeah,
Just keep those on hold.
yeah.
You want to just move forward with the
Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
McAllen tennis court? That's
What?
128. There's only one other item in there, which is the relamp.
We could do all three of it, I don't, it's up to
Yeah,
you.
but tennis courts, I'm just gonna say right now, a lot of people are using them because they can't do anything, and I think that one's permissible. Am I right, for sports? I mean, they're using the ones at
Yeah.
Travis, and I know they're using other ones, so I'm sure if there's nobody at the schools, that the
Yeah,
schools.
that's not gonna break the bank
Yeah.
for 128.
Yeah, we can just leave Daffodil on hold
And then
and
motocross,
then, fund it, hopefully, next fiscal year, possibly.
yeah.
We need time to design it anyway, and then you're fine. Then we can do the projects, you're not in the red.
You're not gonna spend it till the next, because you still have to get the engineering, go out to bids and all
Right.
that process. You're gonna be into the next fiscal year anyhow.
So
Mayor,
we're
is
just
there a
doing,
reason why the press box isn't on hold at $1 million?
Because that's already moving forward, and, I mean, you could put it on hold. I didn't put it on hold. Yeah, the school's moving forward with it.
But I don't think they're that far along, they're not that, I don't think they're even like, how far along are they on the press box?
They're moving forward with the project.
No, not that, but how far along are they in the process?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So all these on this page have not been funded, have not been spent yet, right?
What are you looking at here?
On page 2 of 3.
2 of 3, all of that is funded. All of that is funded. Only the one on the far right is on hold.
I know, but I meant, some of it hasn't been spent yet.
Yeah.
If we were gonna do, these are your recommendations to put projects on hold. There are some projects in here that are still in the budget, adjusted budget, but haven't been spent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're ongoing though.
They're ongoing?
Right.
I think the projects that Roy said were on hold are ones that basically had not started at
Had
all.
not started.
Okay,
can I ask a dumb question?
okay.
Vida, we have 500 and something, are they working from home, did they get, can we lower maybe some of these? Because that's the second page, I'm just asking. On the top, second page.
Right.
500, that's,
I don't know the answer to that, Commissioner.
That's a current year approval, right?
yes, but I'm just saying because a lot of these,
Yes,
they've
that's already,
reduced their own,
yes.
but they've reduced their
It's already
own,
locked
they've
in.
already been awarded, you have the money?
Yeah.
And we can't allocate it somewhere else, we can't amend
Well,
it.
they're already under contract, these agencies for that amount.
Okay. I'm just asking.
No, I mean, it's a good question.
Well, part of the evaluation for next year is what they have left over and what they didn't spend this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, we asked the staff to put that in there, so we'll have that information. But okay, so that,
That 3.4 for Daffodil, that's streets only, not drainage?
It's incidental drainage, yes, ma'am.
but it's not,
We will put curb and gutter on Daffodil.
but since the engineers, we just let the engineering contract, and you still gotta go through all that, plus the bidding process, you'll be in next fiscal year anyhow. So,
So why don't we do this? Why don't we leave it on hold, and we basically reduce it by the amount that keeps us out of the red? That means you still have a slug of money there for next fiscal year, and then you just have to fill that gap.
yeah,
For all of them or just some?
Just that one, just Daffodil.
What about the motocross?
Motocross probably gonna come off,
Yeah.
but that's only $300,000, because there's 400 and some thousand coming as revenue, so both of them will go away.
And not only that.
But we can cross that out now if you'd like.
With the growth of the airport and the motocross location, so I think
We
it's
keep,
okay that
we
we
keep
leave
it
it on hold
on.
for now.
I mean, we keep it on, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna go
Yeah,
anywhere. and
agree.
Just don't know if we need to keep it on now. At any rate, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I mean,
Use it for something
It-
else.
Design is beginning,
That's on our side, right?
yes.
okay. So then what's the motion then?
I recommend we keep a freeze on Daffodil construction, and that, the approved amount of spending leaves us a balanced budget in the Development Corporation. Budget of
Okay.
0, fund balance of 0.
And so we have three,
Well, I say I recommend it, I really don't recommend it, but
yeah, we have three recommended ordinances here. I'm trying to figure out, you're amending, but, well, the first one's amending the budget by 4.40, so we actually, that number's being modified by what we just discussed right now.
right.
Just so I'm clear, the amendment would, for example, with regards to Daffodil, would only be for this fiscal year, right? Not
Yes.
for the next one.
Right, you still have to vote on that at some later
Yes,
date.
So 3 or 4 months from now,
Do
we're
August.
probably gonna revisit it again, because we're gonna be looking at 20/21 budget, right?
Right,
Okay, I'm good with it.
And then
and you will have a gap at that time,
Right.
depending on whether certain things happen or not.
Right, okay.
Okay, let's ask in a sequence, because the one is, the new things we came up with were grants, rental mortgage assistance, and Wi-Fi service. Do we have to cover those first before we do the final, based on what the projects we're holding back?
I think that motion will suffice, Mayor,
Okay.
and we'll know how to
Okay.
write it.
Okay,
I got a quick question. Have we submitted the budget to the county, and have we gotten feedback yet on the CARES Act?
Yes, we have submitted the interlocal and the budget. We've got no feedback.
When do we anticipate getting feedback from?
Next year. after
Couldn't tell you.
the-
We're probably gonna be emailing them every day.
Have you started?
Yes.
And we have not received any, have you made a phone call?
Uh,
But I think the plan is appropriate, because until we know that we're gonna get the money, then we need to make these budget amendments. But if and when we do get the money, then we have a little bit of play there,
Right.
a little room for some of these projects.
right.
I'm gonna give it-
So just so the motion's clear, the motion would be to adopt the first ordinance, because we've already agreed to those that are on hold, staying on hold, with the exception of the tennis court lights. So whatever number that came out to be. And then on the, so let's talk about the additional expenses, that was a saving. And I had a question on the Wi-Fi, because I didn't think we limited it just to the south side. I thought there was enough money for more than just the south side, number one. And when you add it up, if you have 600 feet as opposed to, and by the way, I was gonna send you a picture, all the light posts in my neighborhood are wood. They held up pretty good. But if you have, if you do 600 feet, you almost divide it by 2, because the original budget, I think, was based on 3. I would think we'd test it out to see how well the 600 feet works, every other lamp post works, and then you almost got double your size. And I think, Tanya, you have a good measure of, on the south side where we need it, right, specifically? And then I think we need to add whatever the neighborhoods
We were
Yeah.
they're
talking
talking about.
South of Pecan,
Yeah, south of Pecan.
Yeah, and that's the only thing okay, it didn't define south, it's just the South McAllen, so if it's south of Pecan, we ought to just define that. And then keep the number the same, hopefully we'll be able to get penetration through that whole area, based on the 600 feet, whatever works. But I think, before we put one on every post, which is 300 feet normally, we'd want to do a test
I don't
run.
like sharing.
and I assume, even if you do on south side, it's not just gonna be blanketing every pole, right? We're gonna strategically place it,
That-
residential areas,
Yeah.
public areas.
Exactly. I think we'd gross the number on poles out, and that was gonna be, but I think we keep the budget number, but I would think that budget number perhaps would go down based on how effective this is gonna be.
Or we could extend the coverage.
The coverage area.
Exactly.
Even going up a little further up.
Exactly.
On 29, some
Yeah.
areas that may need.
I mean, south of Pecan is really a CBDG mandated based on pretty old data on census tracts.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mine are with them.
Okay. So then the other one is, anybody want to talk about you said rent mortgage assistance, we're going to develop that program, right? So we'll have another bite at that apple when you're developing it, I guess? We haven't talked about qualifications or anything, we just to get the program rolling. And I think that program,
Do we have anybody doing that program already?
Huh?
Is there someone that we've been working with for that program? I mean, that's already got the knowledge on how to administer it?
I don't know if I know that they talked to the county and they were gonna do some, I think they're maybe waiting, I don't think they funded theirs yet. I don't know, I haven't seen the
I haven't
county's
seen a
budget.
formal program. I've heard the county and I think other cities talk about establishing one, but I have yet to see, I
Right.
think, a program that you got an outline of parameters and guidelines. So that's something that we'd probably have to develop ourselves.
I think
Well, I
most
know
of them are
that,
working on
I
developing.
know that Affordable Homes is working on something, but I'm not sure, I got a short report on it, but not enough information.
And,
But
and
I think we ought to ask,
I talked to Bobby today about that from Affordable Homes and not only that, but also about the lift having problems with the commercial loans. And so he's supposed to get back to us, but while we have them make a presentation, if we have to have a special meeting, we can do that in the next couple of weeks. I think the mortgage and rents, now that the Supreme Court's lifted the foreclosure, is gonna be really important.
Agreed.
Bobby's here if you want to ask.
But Bobby's here. You ready to talk about it, or you wanna not?
I can give you a 2-second version.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Well, maybe not 2 seconds.
All right, you're up. Sit down. Nice.
So,
2 minutes?
We are administering a program for the state. It's rental only. And we actually launched on Friday. So we have a website that's set up. We also are gonna be working on one using CDBG monies that we're reprogramming for the city of McAllen, and that will be towards the end of July. The county program is launching at the beginning of July, and that is mortgage and rental assistance.
Are you doing that one too, or no?
No, we're referring, mortgage, at this point, we're referring mortgage people to wherever, the last I heard, is it's not gonna be available it's only available for county residents, not residents of any city.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so we can mimic that if it's successful. Okay.
And we already have a structure in place for the rental, it'll be easy to modify for mortgages.
So-
Can we get that so we can review and see if it's along the
Yeah.
same lines?
Let's go forward with the budget, but subject to who's
Yes.
gonna do it and how it's gonna be done. All right?
Agreed.
It'll be subject to that, the final approval of the actual program. The budget's okay, but final approval of the actual program. And then, is that okay? Any other questions or anything about that? Okay.
On the rent mortgage, is it gonna be then restricted to a geographic area or
McAllen?
Oh,
to
McAllen.
the entire, to the entire city or 7501?
I don't know, it's a good question.
All right, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I think that'll be our
Well,
program,
that's what we're
program
gonna be
discussion.
figuring out.
7503 is
What's too many people?
PO box.
You started Sebi?
Oh, no, I said that's probably what we're gonna have to figure out when we discuss the program
Yeah.
parameters and
Like right now, we're approving the budget, like how much.
Let's
we're
do the
gonna put
budget
money
subject
in
to the
there,
program.
And then after this, we're gonna see how
Yeah.
it's gonna work.
We'll get in the weeds
Yeah, get in the weeds.
appropriately. That's probably a workshop, we ought to probably do an hour or two on that workshop. Okay, anything else on that? Then on grants, $2 million for grants.
On
And
that,
that's,
Mayor, I think it ought to be the same amount across the board.
5,000?
More people, rather than to have a two-tier. I think the first go around on the grants was 5 and 10.
Yeah.
It's been suggested to do just like 5 all year across to get more people.
you want to, and Steve's here, you want to,
Yeah.
Steve?
Is that something that, yeah, we want the chamber to?
Yeah. 'Cause they did the grants already, right?
Mayor, Commissioners, and Development Court, first of all, if you had a chance to hear these businesses when we contacted them that they've been awarded the grant, it was really amazing how appreciative they are, how excited they are to get the money, and what a difference the money's making for them. Especially, most of them are using it for back rent or mortgage, and also inventory, replenishing their inventory sometimes. Now, the businesses that are in the queue that have been approved tentatively are really struggling. I mean, they're going, do you know when a second round of funding will be approved by the city? And so we're getting close, but they are really hanging on by a thread. So just want to take you through some of the basic numbers. Just as a reminder, we talked about ease, quickness, and simplicity as far as making the system work, and I think we've achieved that. The application process is easy. We've been able very quickly to approve folks and get them moving. And matter of fact, last week we started cutting checks, third-party pay for a lot of folks, and that's moving along quite well. So we basically have 37 businesses that are qualified, that would be at the $5,000 range. We have another 26 businesses that are qualified that would be at the $10,000 range if we kept the same funding allocations that we did on the first round. One of the questions that I need clarification from the commission is the first round, we capped it at $1 million gross revenue. And you can see, we had 44 applicants that were over $1 million. Now, I will tell you, we had an outlier that had $28 million in revenue, right? We reminded folks the intent and purpose of this program is to impact small independent businesses, not the big guys. But one of the things I needed some clarification and direction from y'all is we have 31 applicants that if we set the threshold at 2 million and under, they would be eligible for the grants. And so that's something I need for you to consider. The second one is franchises. We had a lot of franchises apply. Under the first round, they were not eligible, again, because the intent purpose was the small independent business. Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking us to take franchises over residential addresses?
I'm asking you to consider that.
Oh,
You know,
my question is, are
residential
you gonna
addresses,
take-
we just, you know, it was a home-based business, and it was something we just felt like didn't really qualify as an independent business.
And how,
But they
like
are
what type of
independent
businesses were they though?
The home-based,
Mhm.
a lot of them were consulting businesses, like
Wow.
consultants. And so we always looked at that as if you're a full-time consultant, you typically have an office space and you have that kind of professional address that goes with it.
Well, if you put those to the side, how many are still home-based without being consultant?
I couldn't hear you.
Putting the consulting businesses to the side, how many of those were actual businesses that are from home?
The home-based businesses, I'd have to go back and check.
Because the franchises probably still have a motherhood that should take care of them, and the home-based ones do not. I know.
The franchises,
You get into the home-based business, you're gonna get into some gray areas.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make a condition that they have a brick and mortar lease or
There you go.
building, right, that they own.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
that
other-
works better, you know, when you have a location, and I think that can, and I'm thinking this is from the taxpayer's perspective.
Right.
They see that as, it is a brick and mortar, I can see it and go to it, as opposed to somebody that says I'm a home-based business.
Steve, but if we went over the million, as far as I know, the definition of a small business is $1 million and under, so what does that, I mean,
Well,
bankers,
it
what is
depends
that?
on what definition you use.
Yeah.
If you use the
And
federal
that's the
government,
question.
it's, the federal government is, I'm gonna turn to my neighbors,
I think it's upwards of even 20 million.
If-
Yeah, 20 million.
Hey,
Yeah.
Steve,
So.
if you're gonna
businesses
stand
that
over your
do
banker,
very
you have to
little-
put your mask up higher there, okay? There you go.
You can see your nose.
So-
yeah, I can't tell.
And there's technically a new term of businesses that, so when a business has 5 or less employees, and it's sort of someone who operates kind of out of a small independent location, they're now calling them micro businesses.
Really?
So micro businesses are falling out of a lot of the government funding, or if they do qualify, they're getting such a minuscule amount. So programs like this are good for small micro businesses, right? With a physical location that's got ongoing bills and utilities, rent, and other costs that they're absorbing.
Okay,
so where are we at if we add the franchise businesses and if we went to 2 million in revenue?
Yeah, a lot of money.
But by franchise,
So a lot of the requests we had under franchises for fitness centers. Some of them were, you know, shoe stores that were franchises.
Hmm.
So those are the type of franchise businesses that we're seeing that made a request.
The
Well-
issue with the franchise though is then you have another level of criteria with the royalties, because a lot of them are probably having a really hard time with that, if they're even paying that. And, you know, how long a time does each one have to not pay that, and so you really have to look hard at that, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll be opening up.
And local, I think we should say more local, but.
okay, if we approve this, let's vote on the whole package, because if we approve this, we don't want to wait 2 weeks to figure out that particular part of the program. If the
Yeah.
program's up and running, we have to make these decisions.
I say we keep it
So-
the way it is.
subject to
So-
any amendments or,
Yeah, so what do you want to do?
So
You
we're
want-
just approving the budget at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
With the
I
budget
think,
and-
I think we can approve the,
Yeah, the whole
let's
thing,
approve
so
the
we
whole
have to
thing,
come
so
back.
we get this thing rolled out, because businesses are going under as we speak.
Okay, but we're gonna approve the budget, all of them, under what circumstances?
That's
Well-
what you're-
Well, let's talk about these. There are only 3 requests, right? Number one is, do you want to exclude franchises
You
or
want to
not?
include franchises in this next round.
Okay, let's-
You want to go to 2 million in terms of revenues. And again, that will exclude some of these franchises, because if they have more than $2 million in gross revenues, they won't be eligible.
And what's the third?
And then if you want to keep it at the difference of the 5,000 and 10,000, or if you just want to do a flat 5,000.
And can we add a higher number of local entities before franchises,
Well, Commissioner, most of these are all local.
or local owners?
Yeah, they're all, yeah,
Because
all
right now
these,
they're not taking franchises.
yeah, these are all local, these are all folks here, so it's, on the first round, you accomplished your purpose of impacting the local, small independent business.
Franchise is $5,000, isn't gonna do much, whereas somebody else under a mail, that might help out.
Well, that's why I say some of
Suggest
these,
do it the way it is.
some of the home base could be construction companies who no longer are paying rent and going home, and you're knocking out home-based places that are construction companies, some of your, nail shops had to go home, I'm just mentioning those who are local,
Well, the problem with home base, I think, is, well, that's your home. Brick and mortar, you're always gonna have it because that's your home, but you get into issues of whether there really are.
Yeah,
or
because
not.
you get an issue about mortgage payment or rent payment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
paying
Yeah.
yourself. Right.
Yeah.
I keep it like it is, stay with the 5,000 max, and then,
One loan size for all applicants?
yeah.
Yeah.
Grant size.
No
One grant
franchises.
No, no franchise?
No franchise?
Okay, no franchises,
This is how it is.
5,000 for all?
Do we go up to 2
5,000
million in
for all.
revenue?
But the I'm okay with going up to 2 million.
Huh?
I love the idea of more money, but I can promise you right now, that's too much right now. Based on the applications we have, if I was gonna plan this out, I'd say $1 million, maybe 1.2 million, with the idea that if there's a huge demand for it, that you can come back and fund it a second or third and fourth round. But I give you as a policy, a little bit more flex in where you spend your money if you need other places.
Well, okay, so 1.2 million, 5,000 is cap, no franchises, and $2 million? Anything else?
No home base.
No home base.
No home base. And that would be, so that would be included, you got that, whoever's taking, on the grant one we're gonna approve. We're reducing that number to 1.2. We still do $1 million on the rental assistance, and Bobby's gonna come back and report us at a workshop of how we can do that. Wi-Fi, this number stays the same. The definition is Pecan South, and then subject to budget amendment if there's any money left over to go north of Pecan, right? And then Development Corps Fund, capital projects, we took out the Daffodil Extension and the motocross park, we left in the tennis court lights. Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Here now, all in favor, say, raise your hand. You Development Corps people too, okay? And then I presume City Commission had the same motion? Okay, there we go. Motion carried. Thank you very much. And what else we have on the Development Corps?
That's it.
Okay, Development Corps members, thank you very much. And you certainly will be invited to when we talk about the loan, the rent program and, was it rent mortgages? Rent mortgages. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, the revenue too.
And so now we're.
Okay, so that,
We're recessed, or that meeting is adjourned, right?
Right,
We're adjourned that meeting.
okay, and so now,